What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Sunday Flex Seal Part 2. Happy Mother's Day to every all the mothers. Call your mom. Call your mom. Wish her happy birthday. It's back. Yesterday was a busy day. This does not look like the same truck. I will tell you that. The frustration and shock didn't stop though. So yesterday, like I said, I got those axles cleaned up and they look pretty good now. You can see on the back, I've got, you see that brass end, or the axle end? We sell those separately. You can replace the end caps. And since this one had an actual end cap that had been flex sealed, and then the other one was just like some random plastic end cap off of some other axle that had just been hammered on. It didn't fit properly and just been forced on. So I needed to replace those. We don't sell those separately though, so this seemed like the obvious way to go. Oh, the red diff cap. I actually had one of those. Not sure why or where it came from, but I had an extra, so I replaced that. Then, well, you can see that I remounted the tires. I added some Method 101s in gray with the with some scale hardware. So those look pretty good. The tires are small. I am obviously not normally a small tire person, but this truck isn't like I've got a set of trenchers here and a set of crawlers here, and I just can't decide if I think it's worth putting extra stuff into. The thing is that it looks good now. It looks like a half decent truck, but it's still, I mean, it's got some history and it's got some issues for sure. So today, what I have not touched yet at all is the electronics. So the 370 TBL servo, great servo, was tested previously and it worked fine, which was good news. We also plugged in this Axe controller, which also worked. But I mean, if you guys remember, I mean, look at that soldering job. So this is what's on the actual agenda for today. Like, it's just so bad. So bad. There we go. We'll go out. There we go. So yes, that's the agenda is to get the wiring put in this and go from there. I put in battery trays. I replaced the incorrect sliders with the correct sliders that I had from custom projects that I had changed bodies on. So these are the stock sliders off of another one. And anyway, Blake Denley, thank you very much for the donation. Here's a little to help with the pain and suffering to restore the abused vehicle. I can't explain how many things like I continued to find all day yesterday. Just like okay. Like there wasn't a single screw in the back half of the chassis except a single screw in each shock tower. So, I mean, the fuel cell lid's gone. Like, okay, I'll have to try and find one. I don't know if I will be able to. I can't. I don't. I'll 3D print one if I have to. Whatever. So not a single screw back there. The little things that I found, it continued to shock me further and further. Somebody was asking here about the front third member. I did not replace it yet. I did order some 3mm helicoils, and I'm not sure if some of you may have ran across helicoils in your life, you know. But basically what a helicoil is if you have an M3 screw hole, you can drill it out to a larger size. In this case, for an M3, it's 6mm. So you have to go from 3mm to 6mm. And then there's this little metal coil insert, and you insert that into it, and it's a 6mm thread on the outside, and then a regular M3 on the inside. So that's an option. However, I was able to use a screw that was like 2 millimeters longer than it should be and get some threads on the end of it. So it's the original one is currently in place. Now, it actually can't tighten all the way down. It's like I said, it's a little too long by about a 0.5 millimeter. So it doesn't take that down. Let's see, right here, that that screw there, you can see it doesn't sit against the link mount or that tab, and that's because it's slightly too long for the application, but it grabbed some threads to actually be able to hold it. So that's what I did for now. I'm a little concerned about trying to tap or to try and drill out and then tap to 6 millimeter. There's just not a lot of room in that area on the third member. I don't know if it's possible. So I just don't know if it would just blow through one side of the third member and then I'd be totally SOL. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna look at that. The sandblasting went well. Got the axles cleaned up well enough. I found other stripped threads. Honestly, I found so many stripped threads on this entire truck. It's like he put it together with a full size impact gun. I mean, it was just like I would go to tighten something and I was just like, and it would just never even think about getting more difficult to turn the screw. And I was just like, and in some places they were redundant and they weren't really needed. But it went from like that whole funny thing to like this is I if somebody else bought this, I would feel so bad for them. Like it's just I would feel so terrible that they spent $550 on what they thought was an actual VS410, with the quality of parts that they should have been. Let alone if they had never touched a Vanquish part before and they thought that this is how they were. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, anyway, I'm going to concentrate on some questions. I know I haven't been doing that so well. Okay, enjoying my coffee. This thing again? Glutton for punishment. I've one more quick anecdote about where we were at. Yesterday, I got to basically this point here, like as you see it here. Got it all put back together and I was like, okay. We did a pretty decent job. It's okay. And then I got the body back out and I got it, I set it on and everything fit, everything fit right. It set down where it was supposed to. Let's see. I had to replace all the shock towers because they had been so hacked on to fit the TRX4 shocks, which actually would have fit fine if you just would have used the pivot balls that you were supposed to. But that's a whole other thing. I was like, okay, it's good. And then I turned it like this. Well, like you would be seeing it. And I looked at it and I realized that just on top of everything, he didn't mask the headlights and he just painted. It's just black paint behind the grill of the Lexan. It's just like, what the fuck? It was late. And when I looked at it, I was just, because how you can notice is when you're seeing it here, this silver stripe actually cuts just through the inside of that. It's like, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Ah, but a couple people have been asking like, what was it actually worth? And that's the toughest question I think I could possibly answer because the if he would have taken out the servo and the motor ESC combo, he could have got $200 for those, like easy. It had some knockoff wheels on it and these tires, so it had some upgrades. Like honestly, it needed to be parted out. Like if I was going to try and ethically sell it myself, I would have had to have parted out, and I don't know that I could have sold those axles to somebody with so many of the things that had been done to it. Like myself, just like yeah. So there's things about it like that you can't fix without going through so many hoops. Um, there was a stripped screw on the inside of the rear third member as well. There is stripped screws on the ends of the axle where the end caps go on. That's one of those ones that I went to go tighten it, and it just never even, there was no resistance at all. Like, it's just so stripped that, and there's not enough meat there to really like retap to larger or anything like that. It's so thick. It's just, it keeps going. It's the truck that never stops pissing you off. So anyway, yeah. So that's the deal. You know, it's just like, I feel like I'm going to have a very hard time ever thinking about selling this, just because uh, it's the disclaimer that I would have to give somebody would be so long. How long did it take you to clean up the axles? I think that it spent about an hour and a half or so at least. Um, I had to do, I did a sandblast first to get the majority of stuff off. Then I hit it on the buffing wheel to knock off some of the areas that were still like stuck on there. Back to sandblaster, buffing wheel, back to the sandblaster, and got it done. It needed sandblasting to even out the scratches on the bottom, um, or the, I won't say not scratches, but like the grind marks that were uneven, and it really needed just an overall leveling. And so it did a pretty good job at disguising everything, but um, yeah, that's so. And remember the wheels. These wheels were not on it. These I replaced, the Vanquish wheels. The wheels, the aluminum wheels that were on it, I told Phoenix RC crawler in here. I told him to keep them and just not send them to me. So um, yeah, strip one screw and I have to immediately fix it or it drives me nuts. I can't believe someone would leave it all those with all those problems. And I'm not, yeah, that balding Toski, the number of the screws that were, I'm not, there was well over a dozen stripped screws throughout this entire truck. That VS4-10 is so happy to be in your hands. We'll see what we do with it. I have no idea. What tire size? 4.09 Pitbull. What are these called? PBX ATs. Yeah, they're 4.05 inches tall. The gift that keeps on giving. Pain. On a VS4-10 Pro, got one in my shopping cart. Question, comes with 6% overdrive. I would like a little more. Okay, to put in the underdrive gears in the rear. Slow down. I do like the underdrive gears in the rear, but my preference is the underdrive gear set for the transmission, because that'll bump you up to 21%, and that's a great just overall. You can still trail ride with it, but it's a nice bump up. That would be my first suggestion. Do that one. If you want more yet, then throw the underdrive in the rear axle. That would be my suggestion. Looks like the transmission plate is new. No, yeah. So the battery plates, all this here, I put those in. I took those off of my VS410 when I did the carbon fiber battery plates. And I had an extra set of carbon fiber battery plates. And I was like, nope, those are not going in here. I'm going to put some stock ones in here. That's it. How much time did I put in it yesterday, Stabby Josh? A lot. Like most of the day. Why is the winch fair lead hole so big on the VS410 Pro front bumper? I don't know. It's just how big it was drawn. I'll buy it now for a shelf queen. Like, it's like the only way that I think it can go somewhere. I'm like, you have to. I don't even know. I don't know what to do about it yet. We'll see. Take a look at our EXO. I don't think I'll do an EXO cage on it. Nice collector's piece with a great story. It definitely has a story. That is for sure. $16 for the new plastic chassis braces, so all the plastic wouldn't be stripped so bad. Yes, if I did that. Now, luckily, the chassis braces weren't too bad, so I didn't have to do those. Well, I don't. There was, I think, one or two up here, but those, there's still an extra screw there. I replaced almost every screw in this truck. If I took it out from him, I threw it away and I put in a new one. But there was no screws in the back half, so none of those screws were stripped. And the link screws that went into the skid plate, I thought that they were stripped, except he didn't use a long enough screw to even get past the pivot ball, so it wasn't even threading into the plastic that was threaded. So saved it there too. Um, let's see. Just whistle and diesel that thing already. Oh, I know. God, that would piss people off. The truck that keeps on getting hand screw. Nah. Grab my impact wrench. Full size. Pneumatic. Donate it to offer. That's the, I wouldn't ever, like, I had somebody ask, like, hey, can I buy this so I can raffle it off? I'm like, absolutely not. I could never give this to somebody who wasn't into, like, getting this specifically for what it was. There's just no way. It's just, I couldn't do it. Is Vanquish going to make any 2.2 wheels anytime soon? No, not anytime soon. You can get it to Matt, then it won't get run anyway. Your hat is lower down. Yeah, watching some of the replay, like as the night went, I just kept adjusting, and it would just go higher because I would like be rubbing my forehead. And yeah, I was just in this position. All yeah. Got my VS4-10 Pro Tuesday. Been watching you and Ket's build videos. Most of my questions, Matt's, where were you correcting? Oh, were you correcting him? No carbon fiber for you. Next. Yes. No soup for you. PayPal ready. What are the tires? Pitbull PBX ATs. Will you ever buy without seeing again? Oh, absolutely. The purpose of buying this was because I thought it would be an interesting deal. Now, I didn't truly think that it would turn in as bad as it was. I have a hard time fathoming somebody doing something so incorrectly. But I'm absolutely up for it again because the story part of it is worth it. So there you go. Dale C, thank you, sir. Because this pro kit is so messed, can you go full send with it? I think it would be a good candidate for an outboard motor and pontoon floats. Something like that. Oh man, that's a pretty good idea. It was the Flex Seal truck. Can we make it float? Get one of those Amazon outboard RC motors. Dale, Dale, that's a. These tires aren't vented yet. Dale, that's a good idea. Check out UK Top Gear Hilux. Yeah, no, I exactly know the Toyota. Um, I mean, I think that the original body would have to stay too. That's a pretty good idea. What can I get those motors for? I'm telling you, any full Vanquish, I really need a 610 metal. We're still running those. So you will be able to get those. Amazon.com RC outboard motor. Let's see. Okay. 118. There's a jet boat one. No, we want a propeller. Um, Man, is there only one? Um, that's an actual. That's an actual outboard motor. Wow, I must be searching something wrong because there's only one of them here. RC boat tail power head outboard brushless motor propeller steering function $118. Formula. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm sure that this is not the first thing, and that's. But the whole point is, it's not. It's because it's the Flex Seal truck, plus RC Sparks, whatever. It did make the funniest. Yeah, the truck is almost hate crime. Monthly mayhem truck. Trucks to boats. I use a V coil repair kit. You can you have to drill out to 3.2 for the tap. That's interesting, John Whittle. I'll have to take a look at that. Maybe I'll See if you can message me a link to that on Instagram or Facebook on my Harley Designs page. Might need those orange wheels back on it for the flow challenge in case it sinks. Next Friday night build. VS4. Oof. Put a scale anchor on the side and good to go. Build a hull for it. Oh man. Pool noodle pontoons. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If I could just like fill this underbody with expanding foam and then just carve out where it needs clearances for the servo, and then make sure it's securely fastened, we may be able to stealth the floating a little bit. Might not need as large of floaties. Uh, don't let Nicole know. Offshore Electric has RC out. You can buy my swamp boat. Oh, with the the fan. I want actual outboard motors. They're also one for $199. Yeah, it looked the same as the other one. I didn't notice what the difference was. I want one that looks more like a regular outboard. But if we have to, I suppose this is an option. So, yeah, I need to find one. Is Vanquish going to warranty that stripped axle hole? That would not be warranty, and I will not even ask for it, or not even. I mean, I could just go grab it, but I'm not going to. Just I can't do it. I can't take. It's like, because honestly, I would need to warranty basically the entire rear axle because it's got stripped holes on the ends and the third member. The front third member's toast. I don't even remember if there's any other things that were screwed up with it, but it's like, where were we at here? I think the jet boat setup would fit the fuel tank area. Perfect fit. I think that it would be like half the length of the truck. And I think that it might be, I don't know. I mean, it might work. But isn't a regular outboard motor on the back cooler? Or is it? Or is the jet boat portion a bit? I mean, it's pretty long. I don't. I think that it. I think that it needs the regular outboard. Would you do a series of videos? Make it the Flex Seal legend, and then you oxygen off the. Oh, auction. Oh, you're using voice to text. Auction it off to your biggest fan. At least if it was an absolutely stupid and ridiculous project, then if I sold it, I wouldn't feel as bad. Wasn't it Bigfoot V6 that had floating tires? There's been a few, I think, right? You got to put the body on and use the foam to expand as it. Yeah. Use the foam to expand as it will. Let's see. Paddle tires, Flex Seal VS4-10 paddle boat. Did you see Zerba's swamp buggy? I did. I posted it to my story. He's killing it. ProBoat makes brushless outboard motors. Oh, I've got a Horizon dealer account. That might work. Yes, scale electric outboards. Maybe two, right? Maybe two. Put back the enduro brass. Put back the enduro brass knuckles. I did put the brass knuckles back on. I didn't know. I don't think they're enduros. I think they're for an SCX10 too. But I did. Now I sandblasted them as well, which was very interesting. You can tell that the brass that's being used on some of the overseas stuff. It's like it's not regular brass. It's, Lord, I must have been angry putting that wheel nut on. So now, like, let's go. Where'd my keyboard go? Oh, it's up here. So, like, this is regular, domestic brass. Looks brassy. And then this is like it's almost like a bronze, in like half bronze, half brass mix. Or not bronze, or it's something weird because it's not just regular brass. I wonder what the the one thing I do need to do though is I have to make new bushings for the kingpins. I had to make a bottom one on each side. The top I didn't have enough, so it just has a screw in it currently. I need to actually make I need to make a proper kingpin spacer for that. So yeah, but for what it is, I definitely wasn't gonna like put new knuckles on it. Like almost anything that was going to be too much, or anything like a real investment, I was just like, no, not happening. So the knuckles are not great, but the at least at this point they are cleaned up. The gouges that were on them, it's like I don't know what wheels he had on at some point, but it had so badly just gouged the face of them. Why do I keep looking down there? So it's crazy. STL Sunday Outboard Motors. Sent you a link to the boat motor on Instagram. Thank you, Trail Critter. You have to use a swamp boat because that's what they used on the Flex Seal commercial. But what if I put a screen door on the bottom? Then I can make it a regular boat, right? Do some show and do some show and tell. Wait, on what? There are vintage outboards available, but most are worth more than the Pro Kit. Brian Sherwood, I agree. I've got a vintage Johnson. So this one is not totally complete. The prop, I think the prop is actually inside here right now, or is it? Might be up there. But yeah, this is like a super old. This one's a Japanese made. You can tell because it says Japan on the side. But we definitely need more power than that. So it doesn't look as rough as it did on Friday night. Oh, that's for sure. At this point, it almost looks like a normal truck, especially on video. In person, you can see the track wounds. It's definitely got the signs of a former life. Let's see. That's what happens to brass when you sandblast. You can see, like, I don't know, it's weird. I've got other brass that I've sandblasted. I don't know. How come the new Element truck didn't come? So it's coming out at the Dead Man's Crawl, which I may have been mistaken. That may be next weekend, but I'm not sure. Just finished watching Flying Cars. Nice, Chips. But wait, there's more. Let's see. He put a full day of sweat. Yeah, I did. There was basically a full day into this truck. Anyone ever hand brush, airbrush paint? Oof. You'd definitely be asking the people in the chat, because that ain't me. Let's see it run. Well, that is the plan for today. So we were, that was the plan before I just started blabbing. But let's pull out some soldering supplies. Again, I do want to show, for anybody who's just tuning in, the wonder that is the solder job that was on this. Like, the solder for this positive post is straight up touching all of this case. Like, it's on there. It's not close, it's on there. So that means that the whole case of this was positively charged. So if any way you bridged the negative side to the metal or anything, plus it was held on with baling wire, so that would, anything that could have got in touch that, you would have ended up shorting out your lipo. Like, this thing this is such a fire hazard at this point. I mean, absolutely incredible. All right, let's bust out our little mini soldering setup because I don't feel like taking out my soldering station. All right. These little setups are nice for how fast they heat up. So it's off right now. You push the button and it will. There you go. And I think I've got this set to 400 right now. But basically it'll be to full heat. There you go. So ready to solder. It's so nice how fast that is. Okay, let's pull some stuff off here. So, I mean, the big thing is we got to try and not overheat this ESC. So I am going to try and remove as much of it by hand as we can. We powered it up on Friday night just for a moment, but I'm just going to try and get this as cleaned off as possible. I mean, I can't even tell where the terminal is. God. It's probably plumbing solder. Yuck. Let's see. I mean, the only thing that would make this truck pay off just a little bit better, like just the... Damn. I don't even know what that hit. The only thing that would pay off a little bit more is if solder flew up and hit me in the face. That would be the next one. But if this thing had actually been overheated too much and does not function. I don't know. We'll see. There's so much crap around the posts as well. We'll see if this thing has any life in it. Oof. So yeah. I'm gonna tin the end at least for some. I've got a wider tip on this thing right now, not a chisel tip. Oh. And if you caught that, me trying to see if we can get any heat on this to loosen it up so we can get it slid off. Because I can't just resolder to these posts without... There we go. We are going to just use a paper towel to wipe off that excess. Try and let it cool a little bit. Keep hitting it, man. Travis Gilmore, if he's in here, complaining about my PPE for soldering. Okay. I feel better about this side. At least. It's still not great, but at least I can see all the way around the post. That's That's a good one. Okay. Honestly, I mean, ugh. What am I using to power this iron? An AC adapter, which is made, which has got the right barrel plug output, and so I just plug it into 110. Um, I've got the XT60 plugs so that I can run it. I've got two of these, but I have an XT60 plug so I can like do it on a trail or in a, you know, on the road wherever I may be. There we go. It's so bad. There's just like there's just junk like in between the case. I don't even know what that is. Ah, okay. It's like it's not flux residue. It's I don't know. I mean, I'll never understand fully anyway. So I need a solder sucker for sure. You know, honestly, I've never needed one in this long, and I mean, I'm not saying I don't love a new tool, but I just don't run across. Oh, that tip has got that crap on it. There we go. There we go. Okay. Those at least I can see all the way around both posts now. What's right now, dear? I help feed the homeless vet. Oh, let's see. All right, let's see if we can clean off these two posts or three posts, whatever, and then we'll be ready to rewire this thing. I just, I mean, someone spent good money on the components. They just needed a little Google help to on their soldering techniques. I'm just flinging the excess at this point. I guess I'll have to look into what this solder sucker thing is, but we've got her cleaned up decent now. Good deal. Use a bit of old wire. As a wick. I got you. Well, the problem is that this thing is like it's all extra wire that's on there. It's not just the solder itself. Like when I pull it off, it's all like these are tiny little pieces of a bunch of wire. I mean, maybe it would work. I don't know. So we'll get there. There's not much left. Have you completed your NSA soldering training? I have not. I have not. There we go. It's just like it exploded. There we go. It's coming off pretty decently now. I'm going for a job interview at a big RC store on Tuesday. Wish me luck. Hey, good deal. Hope you have fun. That's one way to gain a lot of diverse experience in the RC world. The things I've learned from people who did that is, I mean, it's mainly just stories of things to never do, but you also, learn some things like when of things were like, hey, we need to talk about this in the instructions or whatever, because you'd be surprised how many people uh, do this type of thing. Like, oh, common issues you see as a hobby shop employee. So, okay, one last one to go. Phoenix, $5. Just because I'm sort of complicit in this torture. There we go. Almost cleaned up. Okay, good shape. Scale crawl. Ben, same boat, Phoenix. Guilty as well. We're gonna, by the end of this stream, we're gonna fire this thing up and see if it will drive across the bench. That's the goal. Brian Sherwood, I'm spending more money, dear. I don't, I haven't met Sue yet, but I know she's a saint. Okay. If you are really quiet, you can hear Nicole laughing in the back. That's because she's talking to our nephew Emmett on the phone. I can hear him on FaceTime at the moment. But if it wasn't that, she would be laughing at me. You know how many times I brought her in here yesterday going, look at it. You got come look at this. Like, look at what else I found. Would you look at that? Okay. Try not to put too much heat in those posts, but I think we're in good shape. Good enough. Can I see all the way around it? Yes. There you go. Sell this train wreck to me. I'm kind of into Dale's outboard motor idea. I feel like the only real solution to this is to just put more useless money into it to make it terrible. So I think I need to go shopping for. I'm guessing it would have to be a pretty decent outboard motor. So, okay, we got all that off. We can. I mean, the whole thing is just. Let me go to the overhead. So we got it cleaned off, but just like look at the grime that's around everything. The whole thing, really. I've never had to wire brush an ESC. Um, Wait, what is my Instagram? My Instagram is Harley Designs Inc. I have a second one, Harley Designs Studio, which I have like some other like kind of Camry studio stuff on, but my real Instagram is Harley Designs Inc. Um, Sorry if that makes for poor audio, but this is actually helping get whatever I feel very dangerous residue this could be. Let's see. Ugh. I definitely should be wearing gloves. Mercury Racing 450R. It's more than it's. Stabby Josh, thank you, sir. $5 to get Nicole to come in and go Red Foreman on you. Come in and call me an idiot. She is full. She would be on board with that. I will let her know as soon as she's off the phone with her mom. Okay. Soldering iron over. You know we're soldering this directly in the car. And we're going to stick this in there first so that we've got a nice solid base for it. What about the transmission? Did you flex seal the hole? I had a new top for that. I think we did that during the stream, Jeremiah, where I took in and replaced that. Now the one thing that I didn't do is that where there was like a 5mm hole drilled in the top of this transmission. Now that hole, it went down into the case like 5mm. Now there was space in the case, that area, but you could tell it damaged the walls in there. I didn't replace that, but that part of it really wasn't hurting anything. So move this a little forward, right about there. There yonder. Okay. Okay. So let's make sure that this reaches the oh so wonderful Hobbywing sensor cable. At least it's not so freaking long anymore. My first one, it was ridiculous. Okay, that's in. Now, top one should be C. It is. So that's our nearest. Okay, we're going to cut that to about there. Is that the thick boy 3M tape? It is. The roll has just gotten smaller and smaller. I use it quite a lot. Little twist. Where's my helping hands? Pre-tin this. This solder actually came from Brian Sherwood. It's a tin lead rosin, which, you know, we can really only get rosin core here, but I think this is fairly similar. This is good solder though. Don't mind it. Okay, we said we were doing C, right? Yes. Let's re-tin that lead, or the post. So we've got the same solder on both ends. Should help things stick a little easier. So I'm going to right. Okay. Looking good. Got the wire hot. Got it in place and then dropped onto the post. So, and we got B. How do you like that lipo soldering? I have actually only used it in lipo mode one time. I run it off of an AC power source. I've got my soldering iron or my soldering station in here, which is nice. It's more powerful and all that. But this is just so compact and it heats up instantly, and it does a good enough job that for the convenience factor alone, I continue to use it. But I do not use it on lipo generally, like almost ever. I've only used it on lipo. Well, I've only used it on lipo one time, and it was just like to see how it did. Um, but I like the idea of it on lipo, so I can, because I have a second one of these that I can carry for like out in the field in case something tragic were to happen at an event. Tin that. All right. Okay. Now we'll tin the post again. Again, same makeup of the solder on both of them. Josh, if I tried the Proline trenchers. Yep, I've got the trenchers on my ripper, and I've got another set that I bought on Friday that I was thinking about putting on here if this truck wouldn't have been such a train wreck. If it wouldn't have been such a train wreck, I was going to change tires. But at this point, I have decided not to do that. Oh, no, I'm not going to put that down. I'm going to retin that lead before trying to put it on that post. If you know a VS4-10 that's been mistreated, call Josh. He will rescue. It's like you can drop it off at the fire station. I mean, it's just funny, I was trying to repair the axles in the same building that they were originally produced. Have you seen the new Michelin commercial with the tuk-tuk in it yet? I have not. I don't, unless it's on the internet, I don't really see any commercials. Water Pro Adventure model released. Really would have liked to have got those posts completely cleaned off, but who knows? Adds $200 worth of of wheels, won't put on $60 tires. Yes, but it had to have wheels. Like, it had tires already. That was the thing. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll throw crawlers on it. I don't know. I honestly do think that these tires are way too small. So I've got trenchers. I've got crawlers here and trenchers. We'll see how quickly this. I mean, I only have one more watt. Well, two. Actually, no, I've got to do the power wires still to solder, and then if we have time left in the stream, maybe we'll throw tires on it. Ooh, that wire is just long enough. Good thing I planned that out so well in advance and didn't just get very lucky. Class 1 BFG? No, regular BFG crawlers, the real crawlers. Don't they, isn't it class 0? Don't they have the regular ones and then class 0 ones? I mean, I honestly do think that the crawlers may be a better choice for the water. Or do we get the new Proline black Mambas so that it has a paddle tire effect for the water when it inevitably gets the outboard motors. Now the only thing is that on Friday night we did not have the motor hooked up when we powered it up for the first time. So there's a little bit of concern there that one of these things is. Now, if that was the case and that actually didn't work, then I would actually start to get even more mad because it did say it was RTR. Okay. All right. So, hello, Wes. What's happening, sir? We are in the middle of fixing RC atrocities. So, we've got the wiring done for that side. We still need to. How do these wires get so nasty? It's like he wrapped everything in electrical tape, then took that off and just rolled it in the dirt. Ugh, and we haven't talked about the whole power switch again yet, which is a whole nother thing. We'll get to that. I do need to grab some wire. So I buy wire like this. I buy it in this. It's red and black. You buy however many. What is this? Does it say how many feet I bought? 10 feet of each color. So that way you're not just trying to use like the stuff that came with ESCs all the time and all that. This is only 14 gauge, which is a little lighter than I normally use, but these Hobbywing Axe systems are only like 60 amps, so how bad? It doesn't need that much. Okay. Some short little battery leads. Throw that back in the box. Scott O'Blander, thank you very much, sir. Can't believe someone would sell this for $550. Thanks for saving someone from major grief. Man, just saving my customer service guy and the questions that would have come from an upset person who bought this truck from somebody else. Like, can I buy this? Can I buy? And especially if he just got, like, if he ran into the first thing, like, okay, sends an email about this. Hey, I found this stripped part. Is there any way I could purchase this? And he'd probably go back and forth with my customer service guy, come to it, whatever they needed. He'd get them the part. And then by the time he got that part, he'd probably have run into the next part. He'd have to send another question. So let's 10. I really need to pull more slack than that. Yeah, whoever bought this would have been one disappointed buyer. And then the real test would have been, does that person try and hide it and just move it on to the next person, or would that person have either tried to dive all in to fix it or sent it to the farm to live? Okay. One lead. Now the real question, has Ben tried to buy it yet? No. I think Ben has better sense than that. RTR, ready to reject. Don't forget to open your window wide before hitting it. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hi from the UK. Thanks for checking in. And most fun talking to Karen. Yeah, there is, you always run into interesting things in customer service. And, you know, you'll run into a situation where maybe the buyer may not be tech savvy. So he doesn't want to. What we've ran into a number of times is that, like, a husband buys a car and runs into some issues, even if it's just like not understanding how to assemble something, but he's not a computer person. So he has his wife email, and so you're working through two layers of not understanding the product, because he obviously didn't know, and then he can't necessarily explain it to her super well because he doesn't know. So you're like trying to figure. Ooh, those are the toughest ones. Okay, that's in good shape. I'm just going to trying to just give it some sort of even. It does not want to stick on the backside of that post, but it's good all the way around. Okay. I really wish I could have got that whole post just back to new. Can I ask how big Vanquish is in terms of how many employees you guys are? Let's see. Let me do. Probably, I don't know, just under 20 maybe total, like with machine operators, machinists, deburr people, packaging, shipping, support, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And while I was at the hobby shop getting those tires, ooh, they had just got in a bunch of Crawler Innovations foam, so I bought a bunch of that because I was out. Tires, foams. There we go. XT60 plugs. And I got myself some new Lexan scissors. I needed those. And a lot more foams. Those are all in there. Okay. All right. We're making progress. We're looking better, feeling better. If I had bought that, I'd have mailed him a box of Flex Sealed cat poop in return. Oh. And I think, like we discussed on Friday, it's amazing how quickly the Flex Seal became the least of my concerns. So fast, I would realize that, like, everything about the truck fit into that. Like, a lot of things you can chalk up to inexperience, but I started going beyond that as my thought. Okay. So we got our leads tinned. I'm gonna grab an XT60 plug. Gotta make sure we put on the right end and not forget our heat shrink. There's actually heat shrink in here. I'm just gonna use it for now. I'll use my new These are ProTech Lexan scissors, and they're like long. Like, ooh, look at them. Like, I need those. We're gonna cut ourselves 2 little pieces of heat shrink and drop those on first, because that's the worst when you forget your Lexan. Then we're gonna put away the helping hands and grab the Mr. Jig. So this, this got a little wing nut on the top. You loosen that. You just slide your connector in there. I make sure that I leave the bullet connectors. I guess I could go overhead. I have that ability. I leave the bullet connectors just a little out. Nice thing about XT60s is you can rotate them. So I just grab them with a pair of, and rotate them so they're both flat, and then I'll pre-fill these with solder. I say fill. I don't mean fill, but you know, pre-tin, whatever you want to call it. I add a decent amount in there just to make sure that it flows in and has a good connection all the way. That needs a little more. Definitely try and make sure that I get it for the back. Quack RC, thank you much. Man, it's a whole new truck. Awesome work. Thank you, sir. All right, let's make sure we've got this correctly oriented, which we do. Heat up the wire first, get it flowing, and then shove it in. All right. And we're locked. 1 down, 1 to go. If I had a little bit more, I should have given myself a little bit more slack. Nah, I don't like too much power wire slack because then it just doesn't like to. There we go. Done. And we're done with the soldering iron for now. Jeremiah, thank you, sir. Okay, we know that that's not all you bought. I'm sure you had a new kit. I almost did because they had the Tamiya Mark II Escort, but it was the pre-painted body version. And I was just like, ah, that's no good. Melt our heat shrink down. I prefer a lighter over heat gun for speed. Okay. Battery time? Yay, nay? Let's, it came with a receiver and it came with a radio. Let's find that. It's almost as if a cat chewed on the end of this. That could have happened here. Do we have an orientation? Negative steering, negative to the outside, channel 1. So pins are down. Steering, throttle. Okay. Let's just pile shit into the chassis for now. Grab a battery. Let's maybe not secure the battery so much into the chassis that if something happens, it's going to be hard to remove. Guess what? There's definitely no batteries in the radio. Of course there's not. Of course there's not. Do I have... Nope. Hey, Nicole. Can you bring me 4 AA's? Pre-painted body, right up your alley. That's what I thought as well, except that I want to have the body done like the Hoonigan Escort, meaning I will have it done, of course. Sell the box art body. I know, but then I had to buy the other one. This is like one of those car revival shows. I like it. We all watch the cats chewing on the antenna wire Friday night. When are you going to do the Rift kit? Probably before too long. We're going to fire this up.
God. Are you going to open the window again?
Yeah. Okay. The Chief was chewing on that during Friday Night Live. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's Spectrum, so. Why would you want to give Musha a painting break and pre-painted shit? Okay. What's the chances that this receiver isn't even bound to this? But for serious, we are going to open the window. Okay. Let's make sure black to black, red to red. We soldered everything correctly. Radio on. Coffee not behind the truck. It does have a power switch still, so we should need to turn it on after plugging it in. Okay. Step one. Next, we've got the power button. Before we do that, do you guys remember the power button from Friday night? You see this thing? See this wonder of just electrical repair technology? Look at how bad the bottom of it. It's like the whole switch, it's like it was melted. I don't know. It's amazing. Okay, here we go. Fire in the hole. Yeah, exactly. We're going to just make sure that these wires aren't near spur gear. Proper noises. No fire. I know. Nicole's looking in the door right now. Steers left. Oh, steers left. Steers right. Okay. Try reverse. It works. It works. I like it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I like that it works. Success. Well, you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with it's the little victories on this truck that have been okay. So now the decision. Since we have proved that it works. Oh man. Do we change the tires? Paul Shevlin, thank you, sir. Never sent mine. Never sent mine ever. This is a pity payment. PM on Facebook. I sent pics of my custom XV01 MK2X. Ooh, XV01. That's like the rally style one, right? That's like the enclosed drivetrain. I've looked at that one several times. I'm okay. I feel better. Now, I haven't cleaned up the wiring. I feel like that's a possibility. But the tires, that's the big thing. Need a crawling video. New tires, Ben says. Yes, 100% crawlers. Yes, change tire. Man, okay. Fixing the switch, cleaning up the wiring, those are things that I can do later. I will do later because I can't leave them like that. So, yeah, we'll change the tires because it deserves better. Not that these are bad tires, they're just too small. Like if you see like this wheel gap is, and they just don't, they don't, there's so much room around it. It just looks awful. So I'll keep these pit bulls because I have very few small tires. So there'll be a need for them at some point. But these things were so narrow too. Like they were actually kind of a pain to mount. So let's dive in and knock out a tire change quick. Here's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to use the good Crawler Innovations foams I bought because I don't need that window open with the AC on. We have a few longer screws. I'm not going to use the new Crawler Innovations foams because I don't know that this is going to be a truck that I'm super concerned about the long-term performance. So I just want it to be cleaned up and ready. That way, once we submerge it in the water with the outboard motor on the back. Did I sell the half cab Ford? Yes, it sold on Friday. Which one of the shelf is your favorite? Ooh, that's interesting because right now it's kind of a mix. The one that you can't see on the very top actually is my current favorite, but we won't talk about that one yet. My favorite build, probably my Jeep down here. It's got the one I was doing for Scale Nationals. It's got some really good looking tube work that I really like it. Okay, crawlers. So we're going to take this. Oh, these tires are so good. I just love these tires. They seat so easily. Let's see if we just hammer right in. Yep. Okay. Looks like it was super glued at some point. Ooh, what, I wonder. Oh, you mean the actual power switch? I think you're probably right. It definitely had that appearance that it was super glued down to something and then it got pulled off some of like the plastic from the original part. Let's see. What compound are these crawlers? G8. I only buy the G8 crawlers. I do not like the Predator compound personally. I just got here. Is it still made of the same parts? Oh, so I have replaced a number of parts. The axles are 100% same parts. Well, other than I put brass rear caps on it since I was missing one. I swapped the shock towers to new replacements since he had ground on those so badly. I put the new sliders on and I put replacement battery trays on. Other than that, I've had to replace there was another surprise for me. When I was bolting everything back up yesterday, I was noticing like the front was not right. I was like, what is going on? And I noticed that the front upper link was the wrong link. It was just, I think it was, I honestly don't even know where it came from. It's an incision link. I'm just not sure which one it was supposed to be initially. Double check. Yep, everything's still seated. And it's just, what? Gray Matter Fab, could you just not run a power switch? That is what I do on most cars, except on Hobby Wings, you can't do that because it's a 4-wire plug it's also the programming port. So on a hobby wing, you have to keep that. You can't take it off like on a Castle or a Tekin. So there we go. Those look much better. And they mount so quickly and so nicely. There we go. I mean, that's a tire. That's like a donut, right? Big tires. I got the G8 trenchers with Proline 2-stage foams and a 10.3 JT. Love them. Yep, I like and like I said, G8s is what I prefer. Will not 3D print a transom for twin outboards. I'm thinking, it's a possibility. I could mill it too. Come up with a design and I'm possibly up for it. You guys were very generous on the live stream on Friday. I mean, it's not like I'm paying for the truck with that for sure, but I think that the whole point of YouTube is for so could possibly twin outboards is if I find the right, I want them to look like an outboard. Some of these look like an outboard kind of, but not, they've got like ugly bottom halves. I want real looking outboards. So if I can buy a couple of outboards for like $300, I'll do it. I will do it because it was such a good idea. And because it's the Flex Seal. I'm not going to try and turn it into the Top Gear Toy Boda, but I want to do it because this was the Flex Seal truck. Are the VP's extended shock towers significantly taller than stock? They are 6 millimeters taller, so that's just under 1/4 of an inch. Sure, everything looks good. It does. Watching the Flex Seal mobile while painting the new body for my glass. Yes, just, you know what? It should give you a little relief just knowing that no matter what, it will look better. The new Proboat 43 looks legit. Ooh, Oh, was that the email I saw the other day? Why G8 and not Predator? Please explain. The Predator is just too soft. It doesn't. The lugs seem to. You can't have a tire if you have a compound that's too soft. The lug, as a oversimplifying, if a lug is like your finger and you're trying to like climb up something, the lug edge would come down and the tread block would be, would come off of it. But as it comes down, if it's too soft, it just gives away, just full. So you need some sort of strength to that, and without running it, I haven't found a setup. I mean, if you're running a really light truck, then maybe. But on almost any scale rig, I have not found a situation where I preferred the Predator. I've run Predator a number of times and been like, this is a good tire, but then switched back to a G8 and been like, this is a better tire. Like, I prefer this tire. So that's why I always run G8. It's just what I buy. If I buy Predator, it's, because the other one wasn't available. So, all right. We are looking good on number 2. All right. There we go. There is. sure there's wiring getting in the way or something right now, but I'm smashing something. Oh, yeah. Receiver on the interior. It's okay. There we go. I'm just going to throw the body clips in so at least we can. So that does look proper better compared to that, right? I mean, black's a good color on these. I've never owned a black VS4-10. But that looks great. 2 down, 2 to go. I'm glad that you guys talked me into that. Yeah, I'm actually excited to see that look now. That was the right call to get these tires off here. I should have known that any of the decisions that had been made previously were not the right decision. Okay. Keep it as a test rig or something. I have like actual test rigs that like people just, I don't ever post because they're just a test rig. But I think that it's just going to be a stupid truck. Like we're going to throw the outboard motors on the back just because. What? No orange rims, right? No, those are actually going back to Phoenix. Phoenix is getting himself his wheels back. Dale C, thank you, sir. If Matt can get an SCX Pro kit and his lakes unfreeze, this could be an easy and quick monthly mayhem series. You two are already too busy. The fastest 50-foot top speed. We actually have a couple of series. I've been Matt and I have both been super busy lately, but and then with work lately, the now that I'm actually programming CNC, the Swiss machines, which was not something I had planned on doing, my actual workload has been, it's a whole different world now. So my stress levels have been through the freaking roof. Right. We got the orange dots on the inside at all corners so far. I wonder if someone makes 450R replicas. I know, I totally agree. Or 400Rs, 110. I'd watch the hell out of that build. Man, if they did make legit like 450Rs or 400Rs, like I would buy 4 of them just because like that's the flex in the real world. 4 or 5 of them. Rift kit next Friday. No, I don't have any. I have not got the opportunity to get one yet. So whether or not I will get one from them or buy one as soon as I can is yet to be determined. But definitely going to time to go to work at Wendy's. Yeah, right. Time to go to work at Wendy's. I'm excited for it. It's just very nerve-wracking to program those machines because they're so compact. If you've never seen it, just look up Swiss machining, or Citizen is what the machines are. Citizen Swiss machines. And that's what I'll be doing, but it's just a nerve-wracking thing. And so yeah, stresses are high. But we'll get through it. Gotta keep learning, man.
And it's either that or the machines wouldn't be, we wouldn't be running them. And that's just not an option. So it was that, or I sit back and just wait and try and find someone. And I can't do that. I know I'm capable of learning it. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll handle learning it until we can find the right person. So whoever or whenever that may be. Okay. Last one. There you go. Let's see. Can't get Dan to do it? Not a freaking chance. That is not exactly in Dan's wheelhouse. Dan is not the CNC programming type. If I told him to go memorize a couple hundred G and M and T codes, I think he would laugh in my face and go play with his drag car. I just bought a cab over camper now. I can hit up more events this year. Old man, bad backside. That's pretty sweet though, Perry. That I like the idea of those camp. If they made one for a gladiator, it'd be nice. Gladiators are rooftop tent mobiles only, I think. Cab over camper though. So you're programming new stuff? Like a new truck maybe? I know you won't answer this. Well, a single machine cannot program a whole new truck, but that machine will, I am programming new parts. Like, you know, we are working on Rift parts. So I've got to program new Rift parts. It's just like, just got to dive in. It's the type of machine that, you know, you've got a bar of material that feeds in from one side and a finished axle shaft comes out the other. Not obviously all the parts assembled, but an individual. All right, last tire getting thrown on. Stress relief Cali gummies, Flex Seal Edition VS4-10 Pro, and some rad rocks. You know, those are all things that work. I'm not sure that this was the stress reliever project, but relaxing is a good thing to do. Yeah, we're not going to keep his original one. Like I said, almost anything that came off of this, I was just like, that needs to get thrown away. Boom. What a difference this truck has. I mean, I'm not gonna, the paint job is terrible. Is for those that don't remember, I would like to show you again in some detail what this looks like. The black is not, it's black, right? It looks halfway reasonable. Black, black, black. But now, what if we just move this over? This. That is not an illusion, folks. It's just, that was my phone. It just keeps going. And then the bed, you can kind of see how, it's hard to see, but you can see that that's not right. But in person, you can really see. Oh, there's some angles where you can start to see some of the things showing through. How is the interior? You know what, Moose Jaw? These are questions that, like, you know what? The interior is hard enough to see, that it didn't look terrible until you like really look. And then it looks like the rest of the truck. Actually, the sticker placement is not bad. Yeah. But ooh, we need to get that rear bumper slid in. It's hanging out back there. Let's that rear bumper distance, that was my fault though, because okay, let's just jam that down in there. We gotta go. Okay, let's. There we go. Okay, we're looking better. Done there. And done. Boom. Now the bumper is at just the right. It's barely sticking out of the body. See? Perfect. Now we just have to decide how much of this we cut out for the outboard motors. Less shock preload. Yeah, so it's got the Traxxas Traxxas TRX4 shocks on there, and you have to put in about 10 millimeters at a minimum. I just winged it out a little too far, and these shocks are like 4 or 5 millimeters longer than the 90 mils that should be on here. I think the Traxxas shocks are like 94 or 95 mil. So that sits a little better. But the shock preload thing, it interferes with some of the shock tower if you take too much out of it. So that's why I've got it in there. So it's going to sit a little higher. So there we go. Still got a little stink bug, but there's no body in it, or no battery in it. So when the battery sits in there, it should level it out. But yeah, I think we're good there. I'm going to clean up tools, and then we are going to just answer questions until noon. So about 20 minutes. So throw this stuff in the toolbox. My new scissors. And put the soldering stuff away. Soldering iron. Where'd that little my caddy go? I put it in here. So yeah, you know, I think that in the end, the truck now is decent enough to not be. I wouldn't be as scared to like take it out and risk ruining a day. I think that at this point it will. You know, there's still some screws that I'm, you know, in the axles that I'm not super pumped about. But I think that most of them at this point, the ones where I knew I could get a few threads in it, I thread locked the crap out of and put them in there. So, you know, it's like that continued list of disclaimers. Like if anybody else ever ended up with it, it'd be like, okay, here's the deal. There's some stripped screws, and there's some screw holes that are basically stripped, but have a couple of threads left, and so much Loctite that as long as you don't ever have to take it apart, you'll be fine. It was basically a one-time use left in it. So XT60 plugs. Go. Oh, that's the bearing bin from. I replaced every bearing in the truck. Here's the wiring bin. So yeah, every bearing in the truck is brand new. Everything else. Let's see. Other than all the stuff that got like just straight up thrown away, this is like shock towers, sliders, a bunch of the hardware that I just like scooped in. Like I said, I replaced almost every piece of hardware that I could, or that I had to access in general. There's new links in the rear, a new front upper link. Yeah. So, new tires, new wheels, soon to have 2 new outboard motors. Anyway, let's read some questions. Hello to all moms. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day again. I totally call your mom. Do you think companies like, say, Axial put out better products if they were independent and not under Horizon? Or how do you see that? Not saying Axial put out bad products. So here's the major issue with that. I don't. Yes and no. Yes, possibly, because they may not have people above them saying, you need to have this done by this date. Here's, you need to have it done by this date. You need to have this many projects done, blah, 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 blah. Like all of the, quote unquote bean counter things. But also without those people, and without a huge company like Horizon, they don't have the money to do new products. Tooling up a full truck is very expensive. And if they don't have that umbrella, they can't put out the products like they do at speed. So as companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, they can make products faster and more. And sometimes then they can actually make a better product because of it, because they may have the buying power with the factory to get more for their money. So yes and no. May get me banned, but thinking of Ranger body painted to recreate. What did Matt say about it? We haven't talked too much about it. Josh, how can start a channel like Hand Tool Rescue with RCs? You can get views, Nicole can laugh, we can be entertained. I'll keep looking for train wrecks. They've got to be train wrecks that have good bones, though. I don't want to just buy like crappy Gen 7, things that have been left outside for a year. And so like this thing had awesome parts that together made a shit truck, and it had a lot to come back. Hey Josh, better late than never. 2 weeks in a row, just putting a horrible ones to bed, and you have my undivided attention. Any updates on the giveaway truck? We are going to make some sort of decision on what we need to do about getting it just painted. Everything else is done. It just has to be the whole paint situation. It's fine. Vinyl of being chuffed. What? I don't know what that means. Can Axial S610 portals fit on the TRX4 Defender? Which axle do you like better? They might be able to. I don't know that I would do. I think that the TRX4 axles are just the better axle. They're just they're made for the truck. They're gonna fit right. I would just leave them. How much you want for it? I don't know. I don't know that I can sell it. How much cash do you think you put into it? $550, $650. I don't know. There's probably about $650 in it, ish, not including the wheels. So, yeah, I mean, total now. There's probably with wheels, maybe almost $800. The one dislike on this video is the old owner now seeing his meth habit is the problem. Ouch. The more I look at this truck, the more I like it. That car is in the right hands. Looks like a stink bug. Yeah, I mean, you put a battery in the back, though, and it'll sit just about perfect. Only a little bit. Part of it is just the angle. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button if you're still watching and you indeed liked it. Josh, that paint that paint should have been the first clue. Look at your face when you open the transmission was priceless. Oh man, every step, and it just never stopped. Even after the video was off and I came back, I was like, what? On the VP site, link measurements are from eye to eye. It depends on what links you're looking at. Not necessarily eye to eye. Not in general, usually the links that are discussed are the actual length of the link, not eye to eye. Depends on, like I said, depends on what you're looking at. Josh, check the IG. Sent you a link to a motor in the people also bought section on the motor are the brushless motors. I will look at that quick, Dale. Hold, please. I've got, you said Instagram, right? God, I'm behind. It's okay. There we go. I'm looking at the motor. That's not a bad looking motor. So the motor that he is, will it let me go to it? It won't let me make these pictures larger. I was going to show. It's going to show it, but it's super tiny on my phone, so I don't know if you can see. Whatever. I'll definitely get looking at that. Is that why Vanquish stays small so it can make good products without being umbrella? I mean, the Vanquish's size, it's kind of a thing. Like we're a machine shop in the US, so we're only ever going to be able to make parts so inexpensive. So it's going to always cap our, a lot of people are just never going to pay for higher quality stuff. So some of that always, as like the VS4-10 Pro and Ultra, obviously some of the parts are made overseas, but things like the axles obviously add a significant cost. So sorry, phone flipped out. Worthy of being chuffed. You know what? I still haven't really felt that whole chuffed thing that Matt keeps talking about, so I don't know that I can commit to it. Make it a fundraiser giveaway, crawl for a cure with before and I'm telling you, I just can't. There's no way I could end up giving, like, this is just not the right truck for that type of thing. Like I couldn't have anybody end up winning something like this and then be like, wait, I won something that's got a bunch of like stripped holes and I shouldn't work on it. And it's like, what? I just could never do it. I just, trade you new old stock stompers, never opened, 5 and all. Like the old school stompers. I kind of know those. I think those were a little before me. I don't think I could trade. What size hub for Vanquish method wheels to get the Pro offset as close to stock as possible? These are pretty close. This is a 350, and it depends on your tires, of course, and it depends on the wheel a little bit as well. But 350 hubs are kind of the what I would say go to. Do you guys sell an entire screw kit for the VS4-10 Pro? We don't, and I've brought that up. It's something we may do, kind of an overhaul kit. But I was going to do screws and bearings. What was the Element truck that was released? It's actually, I think, next weekend at the Dead Man's Crawl. I thought Dead Man's Crawl was this weekend, so that was my fault. When Chino called you the other day, that was me in the background purchasing my second Vanquish. What's going on, Ken? Yeah, Chino from Delta RC, he had video called me, and I happened to be in RC country at the time, and yeah, it was kind of funny. When are you going to make another Ultra 4 chassis? I would like to get back out and do some more fab stuff. I'll get to it. I just had told myself that I need to get a number of things out the door before I've got some stuff I've got to get going on. Go to Team K&K for screw kits for the VS4-10 Pro. There you go. I think they've got most of them in there. Not all of them, but they've got most of the screws. Will you take it out for a crawl and shoot a video of it? Would dig that. Might be worth it. I agree. Might be worth it. Wow, all back together. This should be a Walking Dead motif. Is Cerakote better on axles than Flex Seal? Yes. And you can ask that with almost anything. Almost anything is better than Flex Seal. Are the stock shocks any good on my TRX4 Defender, or is there a better upgrade? Stock shocks are absolutely good. Most of the shocks that people upgrade to on the TRX4s are worse shocks People will put desert lizards on and all these. It's like those are a worse shock than the stock shocks. TRX4 stock shocks are just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Couldn't you rethread the stripped holes? Problem is you can't just rethread, because if it strips the threads out, there's nothing there left to rethread. You know, the major OD of an M3 screw is 3 millimeters. Well, if you've cleaned out the threads in that 3 millimeter range, you have nothing left. You can't just make new threads appear. So you would have to go to like M4. Well, M4 doesn't work when you have to go through a pivot ball on something else, and then it like just doesn't really work. So you could helicoil, which is what I've got, and then someone else had suggested something that doesn't require as large of a cut, and I may look at that. Hopefully they sent me a link. That truck has more Loctite than any truck should have used. Yeah, there's a lot of Loctite in the areas that I needed to just use a little bit longer screw. What kind of 5-axis machines does Vanquish have? We only have a single 5-axis, and it's a Matsuura MX520. Is a 2850 Castle Slate a good motor for a VS4-10? Yes, I think that's the best Castle Slate motor choice you could drop in. The Castle Slates I don't typically use. The 1406s are a little... I prefer those over like the Hobby Wing that's in this, but they have a little bit more power. But I still usually go a little bit bigger, but that's still a good combo. Can you buy the D44 axles complete? No, only the housings. What offset hubs are on that? 350 hubs. Thanks, Phoenix and Josh. I will look at both. Oh, yeah, there you go. I am watching in black and white, or is that truck really painted black? It is black. And if my shirt is not orange in your video, there's something wrong with your device. Is your company having as difficult time finding decent employees as ours? Holy crap, yes. Holy crap. So hard to find people that want to work right now. I mean, it is hard to explain, you know. That's what I've heard from some others. Oh, thanks. Element Factory Team Shocks are amazing. Element shocks are great as well. I use TRX4 shocks on my SX10 too. Good shocks, absolutely. You could tap a bigger hole for an M4. Yeah, but you have to put that screw through other things that are not M4, like the bottom of a shock. So you would have to try and make pivot balls that would accept a 4 millimeter and have enough. Yes, you can do that, but it doesn't necessarily work. You know what I mean? Like, JB weld it then. Absolutely. JB welding is flex sealing with epoxy. Like, no JB weld. Ugh. Am I the only one that watched this like a before after drug rehab? Like the guy that went from homeless, addicted athlete CEO to CEO to athlete CEO. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's kind of what this is. However, it's that person that has to wear long sleeves all the time because they still got all the track marks. Like this thing, you can tell it's history if you start looking close. Perfect crawler for the times when you have an inexperienced family member who wants to hit the trail with you. Perfect beater. I think I would rather give them like my regular one so that I knew it wasn't going to break. This one, I'm nervous that it will find something that was compromised and then fail. What is the best mud tire in your opinion? No tire, because mud is the worst. No. I mean, I guess it depends on the size. I mean, when I built an actual mud truck, I used those J Concepts Fling Kings because they're amazing. Saving up for an Arma Infraction V2 this summer. So excited. Great truck. Super fun. Holmes Hobby 450 Crawlmaster Pro 13 turn. 450 Crawlmaster Pro. I think that's what I have in my flat rail truck. I think. Pretty awesome motor. Very expensive. $150 brush motor, I think. Strap 50 model rockets to it full set. What is your CAD CAM software? Mastercam for the most part. I work in logistics. Any openings there? Not really there. That's kind of an area that I cross over on and try and handle most of. Just face it, this is a new member of the family forever and ever. Name it? Ooh, I think it's just the Flex Seal truck, right? I think anyone ever uses Scale Shop SCHR flat chassis? I have not. Tim from Orangevale, question about what is the name? What is with the name Harley? Oh God, I just when I started into RC crawling, I joined the RC crawler forum, and back then, it was 2004. I needed to create a username, and I rode a Harley at the time. So my username was Harley0706. And then later on there, it got dropped to just Harley. And now I am just Harley. My name is Josh. TIG weld the housing and put back in the mill to add new thread. That's a possibility. It's just, if I was really going to go to that effort, I could just get a new third member I'd just grab one from work. You know what I mean? Any hints as to what the new Element truck is all about? No, I think they'll release it next week, and we'll see the details. Track marks and jail tats. Yeah, it needs a little teardrop right here on the windshield, doesn't it? If you had a choice between an Axial Rift, Losi Laser Nut, or Arma Typhoon 3S, what would you get? Rift in a heartbeat. Between those three, no question about it. Does it have an interior? Yep, stock interior is in there. Exchange this with Matt. He sends you the Yaris kit to build. Moose Jaw paints the body. Do portal axles hold up for you? I like my Ultralight Bastard Junior build, but my axles aren't going to hold up under hard use. Depends on the ones. I've broke lots of plastic portals, but most of the portals I have are Vanquish now, so that's, I believe this truck was left in a lake overnight, hence the hole was drilled. I still own a Harley. Hard to ride anymore. Yeah, I sold my Harley in 2005. I had it from 2000 until 2005. I had built it, just kind of like bought a chassis or a frame, as I call it, and a wrecked night train, and put together a custom bike. And then I bought a Hayabusa after that, and that was a lot of fun. But I sold it in 2000. What that would have been, 12-ish, maybe 13, somewhere in there. Its name is Tim Methy. Thanks a lot. Just wondering, you need to run the Flex Seal truck at a competition next time at Folsom. When will we be putting up the breakdown on the website for the Becky build? Oh God, I need to do that. I know. I need to get that thing painted too. That's just sitting at the shop. It's done, but painted. Any recommendations on making a roll cage from a tube, like tools or stuff like that? I have said that I want to do like an absolute basics of welding fabrication stuff, but yeah, aluminum weld the holes and re-drill maybe. I don't think that's, if I was going to do it, I would just do it. I would just replace it. So I might try the helicoil stuff, but that's about as far as I'll go. So you know what it is. Ah, yes, the good old RCC days. I still go there, but stay out of chit chat. Yeah, I still go there every once in a while as well. Yes, it does need a few teardrops. What rims and beadlocks did you go with on this truck? They're Method 101s with the with some GR8 scale hardware. They're gray with the black beadlock. I think they look really good. I think they fit the truck. I don't want to say they fit the truck well, but they fit the truck well. Just got an RC Pro Drive Bully 2 since I don't have an Axial XR10 anymore. Oh yeah, I haven't had one of those. Happy Cat Mom Day to Nicole. I will let her know. I took it easy on the PPE conversation this time because, like I said earlier, I think this truck has been enough punishment. Thanks for checking in, Travis. Do you want to buy a new Hayabusa? I would love to, but I will not ride in California. I just can't. Josh, are there stainless links for the Ultra? The stock links are stainless. So yes, they're on there already. What was the total number of rippers Vanquish produced? Like 160 something, maybe? Somewhere in there. Hit up local PD where this was purchased. See if there were any reported stolen VS4-10s. Can you briefly show your favorite car in the picture? I mean, I don't know what my favorite truck is, but like my Ripper is out in the garage, my Pro is out in the garage. So a lot of the cars that I use the most are not in here. But this is another custom VS4-10 with less abuse. Whoops, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry. Anyway, this is a custom VS410 I did a bunch of tube work on in the back. It's got the rear shock towers all welded in, all that. This is cardboard so I can make aluminum inner fenders or rear bed area at some point. This has got a portal axle in the rear and a straight axle in the front, D44 straight axle. This was my original test truck for the VS410 or the VFD body, VFD transmission. And it just evolved over time. The frame rails on this are raw. They're one of our like early test samples. So they're raw steel. They've got a little bit of surface rust on them. This is my original VFD transmission, the original test trans. It's just kind of fun. It's kind of cool. It's got a lot of history to it. So that's what I like. Can you send it to me and I'll paint it? Big Ribbit, the Becky, yeah. Josh, did I ever send you a pic of the 70s BMW Cafe bit? Yes, you did, Dale. I thought that was pretty rad. Custom built everything, frame, seats, jixer controls, LEDs with completely hidden wire. Yeah, I do love the cafe bikes too. Competition, Flex Seal sponsors. Ooh, that's a possibility, although I talked a lot of bad about it. Thanks for streaming. Have a nice afternoon. Brian, thanks for checking in, sir. It is 12:05. We should wrap this thing up. Am I coming to Axial Fest Badlands? No, I don't think I'm going to make it. Previous owner thoughts. VS meant very spun. Looking back, I'm surprised there weren't hose clamps on there somewhere. God, I know. I like the wheel. Any updates on the giveaway truck? We've talked about that a little bit today already. Same thing. It's done other than paint, and we'll figure out what our final plan is going to be for that. This project has been a win for sheer entertainment value. See you in the next one. Just picked up a new Wraith. What's the best way to add weight down low and a good pair of shocks for it? Don't add too much weight. Adding weight is just a thing that is so popular right now, but it's not the right move. People got to just stop adding a bunch of weight. Just get everything in it as low as possible and setting right. I used to use Proline Power Stroke / shocks, the 4-inch versions on my Wraith. I've got a lot of videos on Wraith stuff. You can go back and watch it, but don't look at just adding a bunch of weight. It's just not what you need to do. What 2-stage foams are good and don't cost much? Crawler Innovations are the way to go. Like these here. These are $23 a pair, so it's not cheap, but it's not that much. And for a good foam, it's worth it. So those wheels would look sharp on that custom. The wheels that were on this are the wheels that are on that Ford right now. So let's got to pull off that Ford and go back on here. The Ford got sold on Friday. When are you going to do a video of your custom one-off rig you've talked about? The one that's on the top shelf? It's a ways before that. I haven't touched it yet. it's going to be a long project that I think I'll just have around. I'm pretty excited about it, but it's one that's just kind of hanging out in the background. Hose clamps are high society for that build. So, yeah, we're going to wrap this thing up. Again, thanks everybody for joining. It's been a great day. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I have a lot of work to continue to do today. So, thanks for doing this. It's always best on YouTube. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good Sunday. We will see you for the scale news on Tuesday. Later.